It's time for the Dr. Cho Show, the show that helps you understand the latest and safest modern dental techniques for you and your family. You'll become an educated dental consumer and also learn about health trends outside of the dental industry. Here's your host, Dr. Dan Cho.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Dr. Cho Show, your number one resource for everything related to your oral health. My name is Dr. Dan, and today I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about a couple of the ways that COVID-19 is affecting your oral health. If you stick with me to the end, I'll send you a guide on how to improve your oral health and not let COVID really, get the best of you. So I did want to keep this short and sweet, mostly because, I think everybody is kind of at this point in time getting kind of sick of hearing about COVID-19, but there are some really interesting studies coming out recently that have kind of showed a correlation between oral health and COVID-19. So, Unless if you've been living underneath a rock, everybody's heard of COVID-19. It's a global pandemic, affected everybody, has, directly and also indirectly affected a lot of people, including their oral health. So the recent study that I had found has shown that there was definitely a relationship between patients that were diagnosed with COVID-19 and gum disease. So this study found that, that COVID-19 positive patients who had gum disease were more likely to experience more severe symptoms of the virus than those who did not have gum disease. Additionally, it also had found that bone loss was 5.6 times more likely to be present for those who were admitted to the ICU or to have severe complications, even death from COVID, than those with normal amounts of bones. And there are a couple of explanations for this. So the first one, I should say not explanations, but kind of theories for this one. So the first one is something called a bacterial superinfection. So if you think of the mouth, you've heard the saying that, people's mouths are very, very, very dirty. And it actually is true. The mouth is a reservoir for a lot of pathogens, and those who have periodontal disease basically have for lack of a better phrase, it's basically a low-grade infection around the gums that basically houses a lot of bacteria around the gums and the bones. And if it acts as a reservoir for the bacteria, basically what can happen is the mouth can emit a lot of these bugs and bacteria directly from the mouth into your respiratory tract. Patients with periodontal disease, they're more likely to develop pneumonia as a complication because the bacteria has a fast track, from your mouth basically to your lungs. In addition to that, there was a definite correlation that those who have poor nutritional status tend to also have more periodontal disease, more problems, and has also been linked to COVID-19 as well. Another aspect is that COVID-19 and periodontal disease, they also have very, very, very similar risk factors, which include diabetes, smoking, obesity, hypertension, high blood pressure, and also cardiovascular and respiratory disease. Those who have both COVID-19 and periodontal disease tend to have these as well. And so there's a lot of kind of confounding factors that also come into this. And while there is a relationship, it does not necessarily mean that there's a direct causation, because there are a lot of gum disease and COVID-19s as previously mentioned. But this study I think was really interesting because it goes to show that, hey, we are finding out that the mouth is very, very, very connected to the rest of your body. Things that happen inside the mouth can really, really, really affect your body as well. And so I do think that there's a lot that we can take away from this particular study. And, in my personal practice, I did see a couple of indirect ways that COVID-19 is affecting your health. And so, at the start of 2020, when COVID came down and everything shut down, everybody was, more or less asked or tasked to say, hey, you got to stay home, can't come into work, and we kind of shifted back to Zoom meetings, everything, work from home, which, has its advantages and disadvantages. Primarily not talking about how work and all that. I want to just really talk about how it's, oral health wise. The Some of the advantages are that, there's a comfort from home. You have very, very, very quick and easy access to the fridge. And so I do believe that a lot of people, a lot of my patients included, they had played America's actual favorite pastime, not baseball, but it's the game, are you hungry or are you bored? When I was just chatting with a lot of patients, I would ask them, how frequently would you snack? And almost inevitably, all of them, they had said that, to some degree, they would snack a little bit more because they had the ability to work from home. They would very often, set up in an office or a kitchen, which is just a short ways away from the fridge or the cupboards, and they would just, periodically get up, grab snacks and, do a little bit of work while munching on some chips or something like that. And so, even if they weren't hungry, it's something that a lot of people, myself included, I'm very, very guilty of this as well, where we just eat because we're kind of bored, honestly. And there is a very direct correlation between, yes, what you eat is definitely very important, but another aspect that a lot of people may not realize if, they were never told by somebody is that the frequency of what you eat is also extremely important in how quickly you develop cavities. When I was in school, many years ago, I had an instructor who he loved telling this one classic story about two identical twins. It was a case study where one of the kids had perfect health, gums, teeth, everything was actually looking very, very, very good, and the other child had just cavities everywhere, just rampant cavities. They couldn't figure out why. Same environment, they had the same genetics, they were identical, but even though they were, identical, the one child has so much more cavities, and come to find out that at the beginning of the day, the mom would give each of the boys a loaf of bread, same loaf of bread, and the only difference is that one boy, he went and he would eat the entire loaf very, very, very quickly, and then would go about his day, whereas the other boy would, pocket the piece of bread, and throughout the course of the day, break off little pieces and put them in himself to eat them over the course of the day. Come to find out that that was the reason why. And anytime that you really have anything inside your mouth that's not tap water, it reduces the pH of your mouth, makes the mouth more acidic, and it actually takes a little bit of time, anywhere from half an hour to 60 minutes, for the acidity level to normalize. When it's underneath a critical threshold, the number is actually 5.5. What actually happens is the mouse just develop cavities. And so, going back to, the America's favorite pastime, the more frequently you snack, the more insults, or the longer that your teeth will be kind of in that acidic environment, and that just leads to a lot more cavities. I mean, I've saw it in my practice where historically patients who have very, very, very good gum health and not very many cavities, they come back and I say, hey, hey, Mr. Smith, noticing that you've got a few more things going on over here. They had a couple of cavities, and come to find out, yeah, they work from home, and yeah, they, happen to discover, kettle chips is their favorite brand of chips. And, after chatting about, the different flavors and all that, find out that, oh, hey, turns out that, yeah, that this is the reason why. So, I do think it is very important that everybody, understands what happened and how, really COVID-19 can, affect your oral health. It can affect it directly. For those who already have a lot of periodontal disease, they're going to be a little bit more susceptible to symptoms if they, do happen to get COVID-19, and also the indirect effects. It's very, very simple and straightforward. That's the way that I'm going to really try to keep things. And so, So, like I promised, if you wanted to get a little bit more information or a guide to how to, improve your oral health to not let COVID-19 take direct or indirect advantage of you, I have a couple of ways for you to get a hold of me. So, you can either go to my website. It's portlandsdentist.com, and you can look at my page or read up all about me, and you can actually schedule for a consultation if you want me to chat about anything in particular. Please do mention the podcast and that so we know. You can also email us at info@lifebloomdental.com. That's LIFEBLOOM dental.com, and or you can give us a call at 503-646-4600, and just ask for the COVID-19 guide, mention the podcast, and we'll see what we can do for you. Until next time, this is Dr. Cho, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to The Dr. Cho Show. If you have any questions for Dr. Cho, you can reach him at www.portlandsdentist.com or by calling his office at 503-646-4600. Or feel free to send him an email at info@lifebloomdental.com.